Hello, Brian Chatham, Ducks Unlimited Regional Agronomist. Today we're going to be talking about the cover crops, the different species, their uses, and where they fit into a rotation. Here at this farm, we're in central South Dakota in Aurora County that got less than 2 inches of rain up until the middle of August. Covers that we're seeing right here are in 60-inch corn. The field will be corn on corn, and they rotate where they plant in the row centers every other year. This first plot has a long season soybean, kale, annual ryegrass, millet, radish, buckwheat, and crimson clover. We're looking at some of the millets here. There's some of the soybeans. We do have a wheat or two. There's a radish. There's some buckwheat. But you can see the soybeans there as they grow. A little bit of weed pressure just because of the drought. Here we're seeing a radish that hit a compaction layer, but provides some hard pan breakup, and you can see where the radish turned, and when it hit that hard pan layer. These are forage soybeans right here. They get extremely tall for grazing. Some of these will get up over 6 feet. You'll notice along the edges in some of these plots here, we got good growth there of our cover crops, but over here we did get affected by the drought in a place or two, where on the edges of it just didn't do good. Here we're getting kind of an internal view of it. You can kind of see understory view what's going on. Here's some annual ryegrass, some sun hemp. So this is kind of growing here. These are more of the forage beans, and you can see them as they affect it in the corn. So here they will not hurt the corn during the harvest. The farmer has a special row adapters that are inexpensive that push the bean downs but don't break them. That sun hemp that we seen earlier there, that can provide up to 170 units of nitrogen per acre. This annual ryegrass you're seeing on the sides here does provide forage. It will provide into the cool season. It will provide a whole lot of other stuff. This mix here, that goes from 60 into 30. You can see the differences there. And each one of these, there's 4 rows of covers planted in between them. But this one had no beans in it. This is 30-inch corn. You could see the noticeable difference. And here's a mix that has no beans in it. In the 60-inch corn, here you can see the millet, the crimson clover, buckwheat, a couple different species of millet in there. And there's some of the brassicas. You can see how much bigger they get without the beans. So there's daikon radish, or icicle radish that's hit a hard pan and it's pushed itself way out, pushed itself out of the ground. That should, in a normal with no hard pan, that would not be buried. Here you see more of the no bean mix with sun hemp growing in it. A lot of brassicas there, annual ryegrass, some oats that's headed out, and some of them had already headed out and then reseeded themselves. This is a straight bean mixture. These beans are longer season beans than the farmer typically grows, but he planted 1 row of beans right down the middle. And again, this is all for grazing. This is all for livestock use, but next year he'll come in where those beans are and plant his corn in there because the beans fix the nitrogen. We got good clean rows in between here just because of the selection. So talk about some of the species. Daikon radish, which is in the brassicas family. Some of the kales and turnips and radishes, they're high tonnage, a good cold tolerance. The only downfall is they don't benefit any mycorrhizal fungi. Also in the plots, we have buckwheat. Buckwheat's one of my favorite plants. It's a good pollinator, has good forage, and it mines phosphorus out of the soil and makes it biologically available, up to 70 units per acre. Also, you have annual ryegrass, which is triploid, meaning it's sterile. It's a good grazer, a good carbon crop, and it helps break the hardpan. And it'll last for a good while, as far as the grazing pressure on it. Also, you have sun hemp. It's a legume, warm season. It'll put in 170 units of nitrogen per acre if it's got a good stand, and it has a large taproot when mature. Regular soybeans and forage beans, they're high tonnage, good forage needs. It helps put a lot of nitrogen back in the ground. Good grazer. Then we had crimson red clover. It's a cool season legume, good protein, puts a whole lot of nitrogen in the ground, put up to 35, 40 pounds of nitrogen in the ground. And then we had some millets and sorghums, which are good cover crops. They're good carbon crops. They have good forage and great grain value.